Inertial Drift is a stylish drift racing game with a really unique control scheme. Now I'm pretty sure the name for this game, Inertial Drift, takes inspiration from the Japanese manga, TV series, and video game Initial D. I mean, we even have this similar looking white car. The first thing I noticed here is the visual style of the game, which has a somewhat cartoon cel-shaded look to it. Dark, moody environments blanketed in a pinkish hue. It really creates a distinct look for itself that makes it immediately recognizable among other racers. The cars are all pretty nice looking, and they obviously take inspiration from real-life cars, but with different names and subtle differences since the game is not using licensed vehicles. The music fits the theme of the game very well. Nothing stands out as extraordinary, but it does an excellent job complementing the moody atmosphere of the game. So the main feature of this game is the twin stick racing controls. Just to briefly explain how those work, the left stick controls the steering, as with most racers. Press right or left to turn the wheels right or left. Then the right stick controls the drift. Press right to angle the car to the right, so again, left for a left turn. But the stick that controls the steering is pretty weak here, so this kind of forces you to use the drift stick to get the car around most corners and experience the game how it was meant to be played. Now generally when I'm playing this game, I try to use the steering as much as possible and only drift the car as much as necessary. The more angled your drift, the more it'll slow your vehicle down. Letting off the gas and hitting it hard will also help you get sharper angles on your drift, as well as using the brake. After a few races, you'll get the hang of it, and after a few more, you'll understand just how great it feels when you cut a corner at the perfect apex. At some point, you just go into a zen-like state, gently finessing both sticks and the throttle to get around each corner, narrow path, and S-shaped turn. Some of the tracks are just an absolute joy to play. Like, I love the Snow Mountain Sprint. Freshly plowed narrow passages, tight turns. The game offers several different game modes, as you might expect. You can race for the fastest lap time, race against a ghost or computer opponent, online multiplayer, or split screen. Now, there isn't much difference between racing a ghost or anyone else because there is no collision in this game. You can drive right through your opponents in any game mode, just like you can with the ghost. That takes away a part of the usual racing experience for some, the challenge of overtaking your opponent, but I suppose that can offer some relief as well, knowing you won't just randomly get slammed off the track while you're coming up to the finish line in first place. There are also challenges you can complete to unlock more content. There's a story mode too, which gives a good variety of different game modes to play and sort of eases you into everything. But don't go into this expecting a great story or amazing characters. Not that I need or even necessarily want a story in my racing game, but for them to include it and then just put in bland milquetoast personalities seems like an odd decision. At the risk of sounding like a regressive degenerate, I think they should have added anime waifu characters. You know, like the ship waifus from Azure Lane. This game could have had drift waifus. At the very least, I feel like they could have added some bigger personalities with a bit more interesting character design though. But again, this game doesn't need a story. The gameplay holds its own quite well. Each of the 16 cars is tied to a different character, and each car handles very differently from one another. Most people will probably settle into a favorite because it does take a while to adjust to different vehicles. Edward's Dart, for example, is great for beginners since it's a lot more difficult to spin out, but advanced players might want something a bit more responsive. The game features 20 different tracks that you can race forward or back, all in this 90s retro future atmospheric environment. But yeah, that's going to do it for this look at Inertial Drift. The game is available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. Just be aware that the Nintendo Switch only has digital triggers for brake and acceleration, so if you're planning on picking it up, you'll just have to think about which is more important for you, having the portability of the Switch and being able to play it on the go, or are you going to want something with a little bit more control over the vehicle? Alright guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, I will see you later.